Hello and welcome to another edition of Fantasy NBA Tonight on your Hoopball podcast. I'm your host, Santino Cacone, and I'm joined with my good friend, Sass Clown. Souriyo, how you doing, Souriyo?
What up?
And the one and only Steve Vidovic. How you doing, Steve?
What's going on? Pretty good.
If you guys aren't familiar with Steve, he is our behind-the-scenes guy. He is the guy that puts all these podcasts together. He's the guy that puts all the forums together on Hoopball. He's keeping track of all our keepers and non-keepers. He is the glue that runs, the engine that runs this train. I don't know what
you're trying to mix metaphors there. You're trying to do like a whole.
Yeah, I tried to mix metaphors. Steve's got me a little jumbled. That's what he is. He's a mixer of things. Shut up, sorry. Let me do my thing. Yeah, but it's good to have you here, Steve. It's good to have you here, Souriyo. And we already have a comment from Ben Carnado. What's up, guys? What's up, Ben? Oh, speaking of throwbacks, I remember him when fantasy was going on. He was very active in our Fantasy NBA Tonights. Haven't seen him a bit, but now that we know basketball's back, we got some people back. That's good to see.
Yeah, I think he was about to win his league before the shutdown, is what I remember.
I mean, he got a lot of advice. He was always on here searching for advice. And
are you trying to say that you won in the league?
No, and his team was good besides that, which you didn't let me finish on. But yeah, I mean, if you're taking Souriyo's advice, you might want to hold on that because you don't know how your league's going to do. But everybody else, we're pretty good. We're pretty good here. How do you guys feel about the NBA returning? I don't know if I didn't see you on last Wednesday. How do you guys feel about the NBA coming back?
I'm stoked. I'm really excited. It's not as exciting as a full season of basketball, but it's going to be a whirlwind of a finish. I think it'll be really interesting to see who wins the championship and how it gets regarded by the media and by fans.
Depends on
if the Lakers win, it's all good, right?
100%. It's true and tried and tested. If it doesn't, it's got to be contested because, I mean, there was no other contenders.
I was especially amused by the fact that they released like the hotel situation, and then Dan made a joke on Twitter about like what happens when like one team moves past another team, like do they have to switch hotels? Right. And then this was my second good tweet of the day. I had like two good tweets today, and the other one was like something like if a team loses a series, they're like, well, we got to pack it up and go to the cheaper hotel or something.
Yeah. Right. I thought that was funny too. I mean, it makes sense. The better seeded team should get at least a little incentive. Usually it's home court advantage. Now it's just a better hotel room.
I wonder if that's worse, by the way.
Yeah. What if they're just so big they just relax too enough? But I don't know.
What if that's worse? I don't
know. And I do, before we start, I see something in Steve's background there. It looks like a banner that doesn't belong there, and he just wanted to give a shout out to something.
Yeah, it definitely does not. That definitely is not permanently there.
Yeah, definitely just was put there for this hour of podcasting, I believe. I don't know if it doesn't look like it's nailed. It's stealing some other nail.
I don't even know how it got there. To be honest.
Yeah, might have floated there. But we're tuning in tonight. If you're tuning in tonight, you know what's going on. It's the 6th edition of our expansion draft, our hypothetical expansion draft, which maybe in a few years might not be so hypothetical, but for now it is. We are talking about the Louisville. We didn't actually get a team. I know Doug was posting a Twitter feed to try and see which team name we can get by the time we do this expansion draft. I believe the Kentucky Bluegrass is winning for the Kentucky team. I did vote for that one. I thought it was pretty cool. Or no, the Kentucky Thoroughbreds is winning. One of those two. There was those two, the River City Raiders and the fourth team. I can't really remember, but I liked them all. And then the second team we're doing is obviously the Seattle Supersonics, who should never lost a team in the first place. Yeah. But, so tonight we are talking about Souriyo's favorite team, the Knicks. We're talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Orlando Magic, and the Philadelphia 76ers. So who do you guys want to start off with? Do you want to start in order, or do you want to save the Knicks for last because they are the Knicks and they are the best team out there?
In order is fine with me.
In order.
Yeah, I say we go in order. Philadelphia will be the most exciting one, in my opinion, to talk about.
That's a shot in the face to all New Yorkers out there. All right. I guess first up is the most exciting team, the New York Knicks. Again, if you guys aren't familiar with the rules, we will briefly throw them out there if you want to read them up right before we start. Steve, if you would do the honors, our glue guy, if you want to do the honors, reading out the first rule of the expansion draft.
Yeah. Okay. So each team can only protect up to 8 players, and that would be contracted only. No free agents apply to that. If you're a restricted free agent or player or team option, that does apply, but no free agents can be protected.
Yep. And Souriyo, would you mind saying the second rule? There are 5 rules, by the way.
Yeah. Each expansion team may only choose from unprotected players from existing NBA teams.
Self-explanatory. The third rule out there is each team selects a minimum of 14 players and a maximum of 19 players. They enter the season with 15 plus 2 two-way contracts. It also includes the draft, so you can grab as many people as you want, and they can play with the salary cap after that. The fourth rule, Steve?
An expansion team may select no more than 1 player from an existing NBA team. So pretty self-explanatory. You can only get 1 player from each team, or from any one team.
I know we did the Mavericks, and there were quite a few people on there, and a couple teams like that, which is going to make it interesting. Souriyo, how about the fifth one?
Yep. So salary cap is a non-issue during the player selection, but does come into play on day 1 of the season. So this is kind of that scenario where, in real life, in an expansion draft scenario, a lot of teams will say if you take this guy, if you take this bad contract that we've left unprotected, we'll also toss in, some sweetener, and that kind of thing may happen to expedite the process of moving some of these contracts off the teams. Yeah. And then they'll deal with it later. Who knows what happens?
And it makes sense. I mean, you can't put these guys under a microscope on their first day in the league. They're already having a hard time taking everybody's scraps. You can't
the teams are not great. Not going to be great. I got to tell you.
They're not going to be great. Though you wanted to put Andre Drummond and Kevin Love into the player.
Yeah, because Andre Drummond is terrible.
We'll leave it at that.
Tell me which team is going to win an NBA title with Andre Drummond as their center. I think almost no
Boston
team would.
Celtics. Boom.
They would not win.
That's all they need is a big man. They have 4 people who stretch the. All right, we won't get into this again, but I think the Celtics would love an Andre Drummond.
Yeah, so they can finish 3rd.
They might finish 3rd anyway, but that's besides the point. All right, so moving on, the first team that we're hitting in is the New York Knickerbockers, the heart and soul of the Madison Square Garden arena, led by none other than James Dolan.
Can I just say that I feel like at this point, with the state of the franchise, I think the New York Rangers should be the heart and soul of Madison Square Garden because they're definitely the more successful organization at this point.
When I was saying it in my head, I honestly did think that. But I had to keep going with it.
Yeah, at this point, the Rangers have a more storied history than the Knicks.
All right. For the first keeper, we're gonna do. We each keep 1, 1, 1, unless there's dissension.
Sure. Yeah.
But sorry, why don't since this is your team?
Yeah.
Why don't we do the honors and you take the first one on this?
So in a team that I was more confident with, the people I was keeping. I would get cute, and because I know that there's other guys that are options, but I can't do that on this team because I know once we get 4 deep, it's going to be but this guy's not that good, so maybe we shouldn't keep him, and it's going to become that discussion. So I'm going to do the easy one and take Mitchell Robinson because self-explanatorily on his rookie contract and pretty much the main one of the main cogs on this, whatever this team is going to be.
Yet he comes off the bench.
Right. I mean, that's just basketball logic. So
yeah. So before we move on, I forgot to say that there are quite a few people that are eligible on this team, which we don't always get that. There are one. Yeah. We're going to count team options as that they're opted in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 12 available players on this team, which are deeper than a lot. Sometimes we get 7 or 8, and it's kind of, I mean, they don't have to get rid of anybody, but yeah. So we're going to keep Mitch Robinson, self-explanatory. Steve, who you got as the number 2 keeper?
Well, first I'm going to post here. I got the ineligible players just so people know the guys that we can't take from the Knicks are those 3 guys, Mo Harkless, Alonzo Trier, and Damian Dotson, which I do think some of them would be in the conversation.
For sure.
Definitely. Yeah. The second guy I would take, pretty easy one. I'll take RJ Barrett. Didn't have a great rookie season, played a lot of minutes, but, he has a chance to develop into something great. One day, I don't know how great it would be. Maybe it's just an average role player.
I like it.
I think he still has a chance. And looking at this Knicks roster, you don't have much young talent that is appealing. So we'll go with Barrett.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Speaking of young talent, that's a little appealing to me. I will keep Ignas Brazdeikis, only for $1 million. I think there's something to his game. I just don't know if he's going to reach it because the Knicks are the Knicks. But we'll see. I mean, he's been in the G League all year. Eventually, he was supposed to get a role before this whole thing went down. They were bringing him up and going to give him a pretty prominent role. I don't know what that means because they promised Kevin Knox the same thing every year for the last year and a half. So we'll see what that means. But, I mean, for $1 million and a guy you just drafted, he's got to be kept.
That's a really interesting one. He was one of my last guys that I was deciding between. Really? Actually, was Ignas. How do you pronounce his name?
I think it's Ignas.
I think I did it right.
Ignas Brazdeikis. Yeah, I had 3 guys that I was deciding between for 2 spots, and I do like him. I like his he's only 19 or 20 years old. Played in the G League most of the year, and I believe the Knicks like him quite a bit. So.
He's getting
they don't have in the G League but he wasn't shooting that well. I looked up some of his stats in the G League, and I don't think his percentages were as good as I would have liked. And he didn't seem to be a great rebounder in the G League for how many minutes he was playing. But he's got a lot of potential, room to grow. So I like keeping him. I'm on board.
Yeah. He's a young guy. I hope he gets some playing time when they come back next year. I think he'll be 22 next January, so super young. Sorry, who you got for number 4?
So is it safe to say now that anyone you say, somebody could argue against it? I think at this point, every player that you might keep now is somebody that it's very possible one of us feels very strongly against keeping that player.
Yeah, though I do see one guy that I really like for his contract.
And I do like a couple more players.
I like a couple of the players, but I'm at the point where it's if someone was super adamant to say no way we're keeping him, I probably would yield is basically where I'm at. Okay, so the guy that I think – so this is something that I'm going to do is a little bit off book because it's not the guy I like the most, but I think it's the guy that they're obligated to keep given what they did to get him. And I think that this organization is obligated to keep Dennis Smith.
Dennis Smith, yeah. I would keep him too.
Have to. I think from the optics standpoint, they have to keep him. They traded their best player and their only – solid future asset to get him.
He's making a little over $5.5 million next year with a qualifying offer of under $8 million the year after that. For $5.5 million, honestly, you have to keep him. You traded away your franchise player and the face of your franchise for this guy as the main piece. If they got rid of him after a year,
could have just drafted him anyway.
Kind of just a slap in the face.
Hold on. We are keeping a player who played in 34 games this year, couldn't get even the secondary role, not even the backup point guard role. He was shooting 34% from the field, 29.5% from 3, 50% from the free throw line. He's a career 40% shooter. 12 and a half points a game, 2.5 turnovers.
Yep.
Yeah, because I think they have to.
I do not endorse this Dennis Smith. I think if you make a mistake, you don't double down.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, you have to.
You shouldn't.
For the sake of the Knicks, they have to keep him.
And, yeah, like
I think he's talented also.
If they don't want Madison Square Garden to get burned to the ground, they have to keep him.
And I think he's talented enough to where
I don't like him.
For $5.5 million.
I don't like his game.
I think he
but
has.
I think that they would keep him, and I think that they have to keep him because of the optics.
I'm shocked.
And I know if Will was here, he would be going to bat for Dennis Smith because he does every time he brings him up. So I will sentiment that for him. But at the same time, I mean, they can't not keep him just because of everything Souriyo said. And they pretty much put their future in this guy's hands. And even if he sucks, that's what they want to do. They can't backtrack it.
And it's not that they can't move on next year if it doesn't work.
Yeah, they can still not give him a qualifying.
It's not that high risk of an investment to make their fans happy for.
Are Knicks fans are they
stupid?
Relying on Dennis Smith to change the future of the franchise?
No, but at the same time, the Knicks front office is trying to force that hand and make them say,
"Hey, have to for the optics." I think it's almost required. They cannot end this Kristaps Porzingis saga with them saying, "Well, the guy we got back, we're just over him after a year." Like
but what if you keep him? He has a contract year, and then they go and pay him like $15-20 million a year
and that's
for a few years.
That's on them, but.
Why not preemptively stop
as a 1 year guarantee, and after that they can reevaluate? I think they have to keep him.
Give him 1 more year to prove himself. You won't have Franklin Ntilikina. I mean, Ntilikina and Elfrid Payton are both on contract, but give him 1 more year to actually prove himself.
Yeah, I think that it's not that high risk. In fact, I think that if I was handed the Knicks right now, I would probably keep him because of. I think it's a low risk investment to just see what happens this year because it's not like they're going to be good anyway. It's not like this is a guy who's clogging up time that needs to go to somebody else.
Time or money that needs to go to someone else.
Right. Like who the hell is going to go play for this stupid team?
Which other point guard is on your guys' list? We got 3.
I have one other point guard on my list.
I have the starting point guard on the list.
I have the starting point guard on my list.
So you're leaving off Frankie Smokes?
Yes, 100%.
I am.
I would keep Frankie Smokes and get rid of Dennis Smith.
They don't want him.
Yeah, they honestly don't like anything.
They do not
about
want Frank.
And that is the fact. He was drafted by Phil.
I almost use a string of bad language. Like at least there was like 4 words that almost came out at the same time.
Yeah, I'll get outvoted. I'll get outvoted on this, but I would keep Ntilikina and
do I think that
Payton.
Ntilikina's better? The answer is I think he's a better player, yes. But I think that the Knicks front office would not keep him over Dennis Smith.
Yeah, sometimes it's not fully
this is not an on-court move. I definitely think that. I think that on-court Frank Ntilikina could have been a really good player, and he's just in a bad situation.
Yeah, I say Smith over Ntilikina too, for those exact reasons.
All right. Well, hey, Frankie Smokes, I'm here for you. Okay.
I mean, if you want to keep him over Elfrid Payton, we can have that conversation. But I like Elfrid Payton.
I mean, I like Elfrid Payton as well.
But you definitely can't keep all 3. Like that's just
you can't. That's why I would have let Dennis Smith go.
Technically, we could.
Yeah, but then we would be stupid.
Technically,
have a 3-headed point guard situation going into next year as well.
I don't think any of Elfrid Payton would get drafted by the expansion team. I don't think Dennis Smith or Ntilikina would get drafted by the expansion team.
I also think that. I think that this ends up being a moot point, and they're back on the team anyway.
Yeah.
So at that point,
yeah. So we have 4. We're gonna go with Dennis. Steve, if you want to keep Nit or anybody else, your call here, number 5.
I'll say Elfrid Payton. I had him on my list.
The safety move.
He
just doesn't want to say something controversial right now.
No, I mean, my list, it had Elfrid Payton on it. It had Frank Ntilikina. Dennis Smith wasn't even one of my questionable guys.
Wow.
I had him off the list entirely. You make a bad move, I think you just walk away. You don't double down. And I think this would be a good opportunity for them to walk away.
That's not what they do in sports, let me tell you.
But Elfrid Payton, like later on in the year, he averaged 9 assists a game.
I like Elfrid Payton. I think he got a bad shake too. I bet if he ran his career a couple more times, it would have gone better up to this point.
Yeah,
I thought he was going to be the rookie of the year. The year like in Orlando, it seemed like a perfect fit.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
So that's number 5. After this, I mean, I don't want. I know it's going to be controversial, so I'll wait for him for the last 2. I kind of like Kevin Knox over everybody else. But before we even get there, I'm just going to say, I guess we have to keep Julius Randle.
Yeah.
$19 million. I don't like he's not a number 1 on a team that wants to win basketball games. He needs to be at the very best number 2. But if you want to actually compete in the playoffs, if you want to be a Utah Jazz, he can be your number 2 best player. If you want to be an actual team that has a chance at a championship, he needs to be no higher than your number 3 best player. He should not be your number 1 best player. That's why they only have 20 wins. But I mean, that was their big offseason acquisition. They're not going to get rid of him at $19 million. Got to keep him.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to keep people in the seats, right?
Because I'm committing to the other one.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it. We have.
That's the end of my list, by the way.
Well, we have Taj Gibson. Yes, no
chance.
No. Okay. I didn't know if there's any disagreement.
No
there.
Chance.
Wayne Ellington, kind of like him, but hopefully he goes somewhere else.
Yeah.
I
don't have Ellington on it.
Reggie Bullock, he can also go.
I don't actually dislike Reggie Bullock. I think that he's okay.
Yeah, I think he's a good role player on a good basketball team. On a crap team, he's just a guy that is taking minutes from a younger guy.
Which, by the way, fantasy option, Reggie Bullock, not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
I gotta say, not bad. And he's ended up on a few of my teams over the years.
Bullock was one of my 3 guys. So I was deciding between 3 guys. It was Brazdeikis for 2 spots if we wanted to have all 7. But I did have Dennis Smith off the list and Ntilikina on. But I had Kevin Knox or Reggie Bullock.
So we can keep up to 8. And there's 2 people after or 3 people. If you wanted to keep Ntilikina, we could. Bobby Portis, with that massive contract.
Although I did like him in college, I got to tell you.
He's pretty good, but $16 million, he can go. And I guess the last 2 are Kevin Knox and Ntilikina. It's hard to say that I like Kevin Knox, but I want to see him get if he didn't get a fair shot. I mean,
which both of these guys could become decent on an expansion. Like if they got drafted, which I don't think they would. I think either of them would need a change of scenery.
Oh, I draft Kevin Knox.
I think half this team needs a change of scenery, to be honest.
Yeah, most of them do. I'm fine with putting them both off or putting 1 or 2 on. I mean, we have 2 spots. Steve, you said that you had Ntilikina on and Knox on the border.
Yeah, I had Knox and Bullock on the border. I'd probably even lean towards Bullock just because I don't really think that Knox – I don't like his game that much. But he is a younger player, and this team isn't going anywhere, so I can see the argument in keeping Knox over Bullock. But I really like Frankie Smokes. I think he really has the ability of being a really good perimeter defender, point guard who's not going to score the ball much, but I think he's got the ability to be a backup point guard in the league for a while. So I like him.
I'm fine with kicking everybody else off, and I don't mind putting Ntilikina on the team. If you guys want 3 point guards, either way.
I won't fight you to keep him off. I like his game.
I think Steve got it. That's
all right.
Ntilikina. That's 7 keepers for the Knicks.
Wait, who did we end? Who was the 7th guy?
So we have Randall, Peyton, Barrett, Mitch, Dennis. I don't know why I'm calling them first names like we're all best friends.
Julius.
Julius, Ignis, and Frank.
And Frank. So we have 7, right?
Yeah, those are my boys.
So no Kevin
Knox.
Knox.
You could look at keeping Kevin Knox too, just as a young rookie on a cheaper deal, and then you could end up trading him or trading one of these point guards, right? Maybe trade Dennis Smith.
Look, here's an idea. Here's a thought. Actually, I was gonna say something dumb. I was gonna be like, well, maybe the expansion team, they'll like trade the expansion team one of these guys to take like Bobby Portis's contract. Actually, that's not a dumb idea. That's actually
an option. They can just cut them off if they want.
Like they could do this bit where they like we'll trade Dennis Smith if you take Bobby Portis's contract and send us a second-round pick or something. That's not unreasonable.
Yeah, that's not unreasonable.
I don't know if we're gonna get that weird in the expansion draft, but let me tell you.
I'm open to keeping Kevin Knox as well because he is, a first-round pick. I believe he was a lottery pick.
He was. I think he went 8th or 9th.
Yeah. So
okay.
Down with Fort Knox.
So that means Bullock. What's his name? Taj Gibson, and Bobby Portis.
There, Taj Gibson, Wayne Ellington, Bullock, and Bobby Portis are in the player pool. All right. I think we came to a solid compromise.
Yeah, I'll take it. It's fine. I had the empty spot anyway, so it wasn't a big deal. I wasn't like fighting to get anyone in over Frank. I just cut it at 7. I'm like, I'm over it.
Yeah, they're not. You could fight for them or you don't have to. Either way, but they're young enough that they should have an opportunity. But at the same time, if this was a guaranteed draft spot, I'd rather have Knox or Frank Ntilikina go somewhere that might play them and actually wants them.
Totally.
All right, so the next team we have on the list is the Oklahoma City Thunder. As you guys know, they had quite the turnover the last few years. The available players are Chris Paul, Steven Adams, Dennis Schroeder, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Terrence Ferguson, Darius Baisley. Are we counting? Mike Muscala has a player option, so we won't count him.
Okay.
Abdul Nader, Isaiah Roby, Deontay Burton, Diallo. I'm going to say his name wrong. And that's it.
Wait, we're not keeping – Mike Muscala is not eligible?
He has a player option. Oh, no, yeah, we'll player options count. So Mike Muscala is also available.
Okay.
Here are the ineligible guys I got here for OKC.
Not a lot.
Which is unfortunate. Losing Danilo and Nerlens Noel.
Yeah. Yeah, those would probably be keepers at that.
Definitely.
Who wants to start us off?
You can.
Yeah, you want to start it off.
All right, I'll go with the easiest pick. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA. He's a young, talented guard. Pretty much a no-brainer right there. He was like a key prize in the Paul George trade, and I don't see them going away from him. So,
yeah, that one's obvious. Everything you said made sense, and he should just be there. There's really no argument to not keep him. This guy's a future all-star. Number 2, it kind of gets tricky because Steven Adams is paid way too much, but he's a really good player. Chris Paul is paid over $40 million. But yeah, we got to keep Chris Paul. This team wouldn't be where they are if they didn't have Chris Paul right now.
Wow.
Yeah, I totally agree.
You wouldn't keep.
I didn't
Chris
have him
Paul?
on my list.
Oh wow,
you just don't like talent.
No, I really like Chris Paul. He's actually one of. I just thought, given what they tried to do to move his there was a conversation that they were going to try to move his contract at the beginning of the year when they got him, and I kind of felt like that was still the plan. And I think that he would get taken in the expansion draft, maybe first overall, because he's a pretty good start to a franchise. at least.
Yeah, but why not use him as an asset then?
Because you can't move him. You cannot move that contract. Nobody's gonna.
I think they were closer than we think. I think that the Heat were very close to getting them, but they played well. And I'm assuming that the Thunder wanted more after they started well. They were like, we don't really need to blow it up right now. We're not really bringing anybody else in to that is going to cost money. They're not a big team, they're not a big market on the free agent market, so they don't need to sell Chris Paul. But maybe they just didn't get what they wanted or what they thought they needed for him before they can sell him.
Fine.
I don't know. That's what I think.
Fine. Okay. I'm a little surprised.
He's one of the best players in the league.
I agree with that. I agree with you. He's also making maybe is that a top 5 salary in the league?
It's probably the top. I don't know.
I don't think it's the top. I think Dame makes more.
I'll check right now. 5.
Curry also makes a lot.
Curry also makes a lot.
He is tied for the second highest paid player this year. Next year he is. Give me a second. Computer's not loading. Or I'm just not clicking on it. One of the two. But next year, he is still tied for the second highest paid player in the league with Russell Westbrook.
Oh, good. Good for him.
I'd rather have Chris Paul than Russell Westbrook.
I agree with that.
Hey, just throwing this out there. John Wall is making the same amount of money.
But John Wall's never going to play again.
Blake Griffin's also up.
Yeah, but Blake Griffin's never going to play again. Okay. This is where it actually gets tricky to me because I think there's a lot of these guys that I like in terms of I think that they're useful but probably not like my pick here is going to be Hamidou Diallo because I think that he's pretty useful and he's on a cheap deal and it's not going to cost them anything to keep him in town. I think that's a pretty obvious keeper and he was pretty good in his limited time this year. And I assume he was on everyone's list.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I'd keep him.
I did not have him on my list, but I was debating whether or not to keep him on my list. I had him in my questionable, so he was on the fence for me.
I have 8 guys.
I had 3 guys that were questionable, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, so I had 3 guys that were questionable for 2 spots. So he was one of those 3 guys on my list. So I'm totally fine keeping him. I think there's 3 young, talented wings that the Thunder would have to choose between at the end.
I think you're right about that. There's a few of them that are there. But I think Diallo is one. I would keep him too. I think I think he could be a pretty good defender in this league. He's very lanky and he has size and speed. Yeah.
No, there's no denying his defensive ability.
And he can fly, so I like people who can do
that. So there's a couple of guys I think are still pretty sure things. I'll take one of them. You mentioned him earlier, Santino. Steven Adams. I don't see how they get rid of him right now. He's only under contract for 1 more year. Yeah, he's making too much money, but he's a really good quality NBA starting center. And there's not many of those to go around the league. He's durable, plays through injuries. I don't see them moving away from him. So, you guys disagree? Was he on the list?
He's on my list.
He's got to be on the list. I mean, he is making a lot of money, but like you said, he's a free agent after next year. And if they're going to trade him, he's probably their best trade asset because he is a little bit cheaper than Chris Paul. He's a lot younger than Chris Paul, and he's talented. And he's going to be on an expiring contract. So people that want someone who's expensive but don't want to keep him around for a while like that, especially talent or championship contenders.
Definitely. But I do feel like he's an older, younger guy. Like he's got a lot of miles on that body. And he plays through a lot of injuries. I don't know how long his career is going to last.
And he's not a good mold. Like he's a very specific fit. Like he doesn't fit on he wouldn't fit on every team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I can see that. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4. We got SGA, Chris Paul, Adams, and Diallo.
Yep.
like you said, there are a few wings that are pretty good out there. There's also two other guys that I like. One guy that we mentioned has a player option, is very cheap. And the other guy, it's very hard. I might wait on the come around for that one, but I think Mike Muscala should be kept. I mean, they need he's one of their only big men, and he's only $2 million.
Do you know where he went to school?
He showed he showed pretty good ability when he's given the time. And where did he go to school? I know you know.
I'll give you two guesses. I'll give you each a guess, unless Steve knows.
I just cheated.
You went to school?
I know where he went to school for sure. Because I picked him to. I'll tell you that it's not a major. It's not like a Power 5 school.
Yeah, I cheated too.
Oh my gosh, Cal Bison.
I cheated right when you were asking.
I picked him I picked him in an upset in the tournament, and I was super wrong.
But yeah, for $2 million, I think he's got to stay.
Okay, he was not on my list, but it was like he was just one of the other guys that I don't have a strong opinion about.
There's quite a few of guys that are at the end of the list.
Yeah,
I just think he's one of the better ones.
But we're still missing somebody obvious, right?
Yeah, I'll take him here. We'll do Dennis Schroeder. I'll take him.
That's what I was gonna say, but
no, he's on my list. He had a good year.
He's very good.
I think he's unquestionably on this list, even though he's making a good amount of money. I mean, he's like that three-headed guard lineup that they had was so incredible with him coming off the bench. That's like part of the reason why I think they won so many games.
And I think the reason that three-headed guard works better is because they can all get their own shot, which is not what you could say about the Knicks guys because they can't get their own shot. But these three guards, like they can play off each other better.
I really like Schroeder as a sixth man. I think
this is the perfect. He's in the perfect role.
That fits him much better than a starting role.
Yeah.
He's more of a combo guard who gets his own shot, who can score the ball and a slasher. Yeah. Other than your prototypical point guard. So
he's the next like Lou Williams kind of player.
Without Lou Williams is much better at
as a shooter for sure.
Yeah, I know what you mean in that mold. I like,
but he's gonna be your 16 to 20 electric off the bench kind of.
Yeah,
thing.
if you're a winning team, if you're a winning team, he's your sixth man. If you just want him to get buckets, you start him and you won't win as many games. If you want to be the Knicks, you put him at starting.
He's like a lot more in terms of the way that he plays. He's a little more explosive, but given this era, everyone is more explosive. But he's like very Leandro Barbosa to me. Where he's like Brazilian, because Barbosa was such a good slasher and could get to the rim, and that's like, but like Schroeder is more athletic and more explosive than Barbosa was.
Yeah,
but
not as fast. Not as fast.
But not as fast. That's true.
That's funny.
That's
true. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So Steve, we have 2 more spots.
All right. So. I had an older guy, relatively older compared to the roster on the list, who played pretty well this year, and I think he would be a good bench player. He could even start as a small forward on a team. Doesn't really need the ball in his hands. That's Abdel Nader. I had him on my list. I'm not sure if you guys did, but I thought he performed pretty well this year. So he's not making. Let me see. He's not making very much money. A little under $2 million for next year. So I think out of all of the guys, he was not one of my questionable guys. As far as like the forwards. Yeah. So I would definitely keep him, even though he's a little bit older. That's the upside of one other guy on the list.
Moment when you talk about a 26-year-old as old, what does that mean?
I know.
Right.
And every year it just changes even more and more, right? I mean,
I hate these kids.
This last spot is kind of tricky to me. I don't want Isaiah Roby.
Okay.
I don't want Terrence Ferguson. I don't know how you guys feel about him.
I don't care.
I would only keep Baisley or Burton, and I think it's close to a toss-up for me. I'd probably go with Burton But
I was going to go the other way.
I don't really have a preference, to be honest.
The reason that I like Bazley more is because he has more control, and they have team options after, and they don't have to deal with a contract negotiation on him.
Yeah, that's true, because it's only a couple million for 2 teams.
Yeah, it's a couple. It's like 2.4, and then they have 2 team option years. So, they'll get a longer leash to look at him if they want to.
And he's 7 years younger, so that he's 19 years old. I don't think his game is nearly where. Yeah, I don't think his game is nearly where it could be in a few years.
I did not know Deontay Burton was 26. What a guy! Good.
Yeah, I mean they even started Bazley quite a handful of games this year, so they tried to give him more leash. So I'm totally fine with that. I didn't really have a preference. He actually was on my list. Anyway, but it was close.
And then can we talk about Terrence Ferguson for just a second?
We can,
because he played quite a few minutes for them. He didn't really do that much in the time he played, and I'm wondering if it was because he's not that great of a player and he shouldn't have been playing that many minutes, or if he was playing with a lot of guys who had the usage and so he just wasn't getting the ball in his hands. I don't really understand. I think he was averaging like 24, 25 minutes a game, starting quite a few games for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm confused I was very confused by him.
He has very little impact on the game to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like his numbers in 20, even last year when he started every game he played, he was only a 7-point scorer who only took 6 shots. Like, it's very strange that a guy plays 26 minutes and does that little with the ball.
Yeah. He played a lot last year too. And last year he was actually a little bit better. I was looking at his win shares a while ago. He had 2.8. His win share was last year. This year it was only 0.7. Yeah. I think he's more of an Andre Roberson, where they don't.
Andre Roberson is a really good defender.
Andre Roberson, I was going to say, is much better than him. He was kind of him, but not as good. And I don't think they needed a guy who had the ball in his hands needed the ball in their hand because they had Paul and Schroeder and SGA. But at the same time, I don't think I'd rather take my upside on Bazley or even Burton.
I agree with that.
I agree with that. But here's a question that I would have. Since they play him so much, would you rather have Terrence Ferguson or Mike Muscala? Because I think I would kind of lean towards Ferguson over Muscala. I don't feel that strongly.
I just didn't feel strongly about it.
I don't feel that strongly about it, but I do. I think that Muscala wasn't getting that many minutes. I don't think he could get that many minutes for any team in the NBA. I don't really think he's that good of a player. He's solid, but not.
I think he's better than Ferguson.
But do you take the youth? Do you think this team takes the youth though? Because Ferguson is probably 22? Question mark.
22. Yeah.
Yeah, and Muscala's 28, almost 20. He'll be 29 the next time they play basketball.
I would rather have Muscala. I think he didn't play because you have Steven Adams and you have Nerlens Noel at the 5 spot. And they already have Danilo Gallinari, who's probably, their best forward option at power forward. So you didn't really have minutes for him. Terrence Ferguson was playing small forward over the other guys that we like, and I don't know why, but that's what they chose. The guy can't really shoot, can't really drive and score. The only time he does score is really easy looks that people get for him. He doesn't really do anything on his own.
What kind of 6'6" small forward gets 1.5 rebounds a game? Can I complain about that?
He doesn't get stats wise. He doesn't do anything. But
that's true. I understand the argument from a roster build perspective because it makes some sense to have at least some size up front. And Muscala can shoot, like at the very least. I think he could, in the right situation, be a stretch 4 type of guy, and that is a mold that fits now. And the point about Terrence Ferguson is that he doesn't shoot well, so what the hell does he do?
He's not really a good defender.
And he is blocking
out there running.
For
He's
the
Tony
young
Snow.
guys.
He's totally Tony Snow.
And at the end of the day, neither of these guys are going to get picked. So whoever,
that's true. Yeah, they're going to be back on the team anyway. It doesn't matter.
Let's go with Muscala. I'm fine with that. I don't feel
okay.
Yeah, either way, they're both going to not get picked. I'll put up the keepers in a second. We can just jump right to the Magic if you guys want.
Also, I think you didn't put up the keepers officially in the chat for the Knicks.
No, I
don't see him. I see the player.
I put player pool. Okay, I'll put up the keeper for the Knicks in a few. Oh, that's what I did. I put New York Knicks keepers, and then I was typing in all the Thunder guys. All right, well, I'll catch up in a minute. I'll start us off with the Magic. Now I'm all discombobulated. The Magic first keeper. There are quite a few keepers. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 guys. All right. First one, I'm just going to go with him. I really like him. He shouldn't be the first, but I want to say Markelle Fultz. I just wanted to say him. He's obviously going to be one of the keepers. I really like his potential. I'm glad he's over the shoulder injury and everything else that happened in Philadelphia, and I'm glad to see him being one of the front runners probably for comeback player of the year.
Yep.
Yeah, I got no qualms there. No.
Yep, no problem.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm going to go with this guy because, by the way, I thought that this set was not hard. I thought that this team was not that hard.
Yeah.
I think that I got through the guys that I liked, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 8 guys, and I'm pretty pleased with all 8. So I'm going to go with Vooch because I really like his game, and I think that I don't know, he's an all-star. Pretty straightforward. And they do an interesting thing that I'm seeing a couple times is it seems like they front load contracts more than a lot of teams because they've got like 3 or 4 guys on this roster with front loaded deals, and I feel like not every team does that.
And it could be a double-edged sword, but right now, you know that the Magic aren't getting any key free agents, so it's smart to do that.
It's just very interesting because if you look at all the other teams as you flip through, like usually they're backloaded deals.
The only thing that could backfire on them is if they start complaining, a player is like, oh, I want a bigger contract, which we've been seeing a lot lately. Yeah. And it's like, oh, we gave you a front
which, by the way, is kind of shitty because it's like you agreed to the terms of this deal. You could have said no, and you could have asked for more money on the back end, probably. Like I assume they could have asked for more money on the back end,
or they probably would have evened out the deal.
Yeah, I don't see the. I think that I don't think that that's cool.
Probably better for the player to get their money up front, anyways, right? I mean, if I was a player, I'd rather have my deal front loaded 100%. As well.
Yeah. Give it to me on a signing bonus. Give it all to me in a lump sum.
Right. In a lump sum.
Okay, so I'll pick the third player. I'll try not to pick somebody who's like very obvious. I'll actually go with Vooch's backup. I'll go with Mo Bamba. Drafted him last year. I think it was the 5th or 6th pick in the draft.
It was not last year. It's been a minute.
This is his second year in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean he's a great shot blocker already. He can stretch the floor for his size, which is impressive. He's still got a long way to go before he could be a starting center in the NBA. But like you said, they got Vooch under contract for another 3 years.
Yep.
So he's got time to grow. Maybe once that contract is up, he'd become their starting center. They're not going to move off of him right now.
I'm really interested in what they're going to do with Mo Bamba because he is definitely blocked for now, but it's just like kind of interesting because I think people, especially in our communities and like dynasty basketball communities, have been like, oh, Mo Bamba, let's do this. And like, it's not time. Like there's like the burn on Mo Bamba is going to be very slow.
I can't wait for him to get a prominent role though, because he's going to block shots
Yeah, I wonder if the two of them can't play on the court together.
I don't think so. I think they're going to be way too slow together.
Yeah, that's where it's at. I mean, so like,
if this was in the 10, 12 years ago, definitely. I think
Vooch would have been the power forward.
Yeah, Vooch came into the league as a power forward, so I think they would be able to play well together.
And he can shoot a little better than he could when he came in too.
Yeah, I just can't see them both. They're going to be way too slow in today's game. All right, it looks like it's back to me. I guess I'll take the elephant in the room and Jonathan Isaac for obvious reasons. I don't think I have to explain why Jonathan Isaac is kept, but he is a awesome two-way player and an even better fantasy player.
Isaac arguably would be their number one. Like he's probably the number one guy on their priority list.
He's only making $7 million next year and then a qualifying.
Yeah, offer. And he'll be locked in, and they'll give him the money.
Yeah,
because they have to. Okay, it's my turn.
Mm.
I don't know. I'm assuming you guys have him on your list, but I'm not 100%. Terrence Ross. At that dollar value, I have him on the list.
I mean, he could go both ways, but it's only I remember I said I really like JJ Redick. I don't think he's JJ Redick, but this isn't that bad. $13.5 million for a shooter. Shooters are always going to get paid.
Shooters and a scorer. Like if you need points in a pinch, he can score.
And he throws it down. Before he became a really good 3-point shooter, he was known for flying. So, yeah I'm fine. I like that one.
Yeah, I was deciding between two guys, so I'll present it to you now. The Terrence Ross or Al-Farouq Aminu?
I don't have Aminu. I don't have Aminu because he didn't play this year, right?
I believe he played a little bit and then got injured.
He played. Oh yeah, he played 18 games. That's basically.
But he definitely struggled in those 18 games. His time in Portland, he was really impressive.
I agree with that. I agree that I thought he was a good signing or a good acquisition when they got him.
I'm not huge on him as a player, but he does fit this team. He's also behind Aaron Gordon, who we didn't keep yet, and Jonathan Isaac. I mean, I don't really. I had him on my out list, but
I also had him on the out list.
I'm just not.
My list. It was either between Terrence Ross or Aminu, because I had somebody else who I felt like filled Ross's role a little bit better in the starting lineup. Fournier.
I have him too.
Okay.
Yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 keepers, 2 spots left.
Yep.
Fournier, Gordon, Aminu, and Kem Birch. Oh, and Melvin Frazier and James Ennis could be the guys. Wait, who just picked there? Oh, Souriyo. So Steve, it's
Steve
you.
Fournier.
Oh, I'll take Evan Fournier. I mean, he's getting paid quite a bit of money, but he's a solid player in this league.
Also a trade chip.
Yeah, definitely could be a trade chip.
He's a player option.
He is a guy that is valuable at the trade deadline next year. Oh, yeah. If they're not in the playoffs, if they're not gonna make noise, a team will want Fournier's scoring ability, even if it's off the bench.
Yeah, he does a lot on the offensive end, and he's a good.
I would be very happy if Evan Fournier was on the Bucks as a 6-man type or over Wes Matthews type. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's a very good offensive.
Who had it? 53 minutes, Wes Matthews.
Wes Matthews. That's Sauriyo's favorite player. He brings him up. He says he hates him, but he brings him up every time I'm on here with him. So I don't know. I think it was like Will when he was saying how much he hated Cody Zeller, and they had a chance to kick him off, and he said no.
And then he kept him up. Yeah, unbelievable.
So I don't know about that one. But yeah, Fournier he's a really good offensive team guy. I would like to see him go to the Spurs. I think he'd fit in that system perfect. He is the prototypical Spurs type of player to me. The last guy, we didn't say his name yet, Aaron Gordon. I don't know how you guys feel about him, but his contract also is front loaded, as it's only $18 million next year and then $16 million. Yeah. Very affordable for a guy who is actually playing the best ball of his career the last few weeks before this whole lockdown came. So he's clearly one of the best players.
Yeah, and they'll keep him. I will say, like, I'm not a huge fan of him and his game in general, and I feel like there's some like it's a weird fit to me with the two, Aaron Gordon and Isaac together. I think it's an odd fit because I don't think that either of them are like really small forwards, but I also don't think Aaron Gordon is like I don't think he because I don't think either of them shoot well enough to be small forwards, and I also think that Aaron Gordon floats a little too much. Like he coasts a lot in games, and he's not as imposing as he should be given his physical tools. And I've always felt I even felt that at Arizona that he kind of floated a little bit too much.
I'm with you on that. I think both of those guys are better at power forward than small forward. They're better as stretch fours, even though they can't really stretch. But it's tough to see them play together, though they're two of the best players on the team, so they have to.
Yeah, they'll keep them, but I wonder when the time comes. I think they're going to go towards Isaac and move on from Gordon.
Yeah, I completely agree. By the way, Aaron Gordon, Archbishop Midi graduate from San Jose.
And I bet Aaron Gordon oh my gosh, that's unbelievable. How is Aaron Gordon still only 24? That's a joke. He's been in the league for so long.
Yeah, he's been in the league since
for 5 years. This is his 5th or 6th season.
Every year people are saying this is the year. This is the year.
We have one spot left, right? Am I crazy?
I've seen Aaron Gordon brick a lot of mid-range shots. I don't think I've seen a player in the NBA this year brick more mid-range shots than Aaron Gordon. I would keep him. He's on my list, but and he was playing the best basketball of his career down the stretch.
Yeah, I think that's what propelled him. I mean, even if he wasn't, they're going to keep him, but that gives him more incentive. But I think that's 8, Souriyo. Mo
really? Bamba. I think I only have 7 written down from what we've just talked about.
This is who I got. Bamba, Vucevic, Fultz, Isaac. That's 4. I wrote Gordon twice. My bad. We got 7.
I do have one more. So I have 2 people that I'm choosing between.
Birch.
Kem Birch is one of them, and James Ennis is the other one.
Ew. I'd rather have Melvin Frazier. Or what about Aminu? I thought you guys liked Aminu.
Yeah, I would keep
Aminu. That's fine. I don't care.
I would throw Aminu on the list, but I also for some reason I thought I was only keeping 7 players.
Why have you done this entire thing wrong? I do this entire exercise incorrectly.
Our producer is doing it wrong. We are underproduced here.
Were we only supposed to keep 7 the whole time? Is that like what it's always been?
No, it's 8. It's 8.
I gotta double check because if we did this all wrong,
we gotta start over.
Start over.
Back to the Hawks.
We don't care if the NBA starting soon, huh? 8 players, yeah.
I just gotta tell you, it's not that soon.
It's in. Doug capitalized it for us, so 8 players. We're good.
So what do you guys think? I would lean
Aminu. That's fine. I don't have like
Birch, but I'm okay with either of them.
I had Birch and Ennis, and I was slipping back and forth. I think James Ennis is like not that bad.
Yeah, I'd rather have Frazier than him. Are we going deep?
I would have Aminu, but I don't know how he's going to look after his injury, right? Because it was a torn meniscus.
And they have 2 more so basically the situation with Aminu is if he doesn't come back properly, what are they going to do with 2 years at $10 million? Like if he's not healthy, he just has to sit on the roster.
Yeah, and
in that case,
second year is a player option, so he's going to opt in for 10.
I would lean Birch in that situation, or not keep anybody, anybody.
Either way.
Yeah, I'm fine with Birch then. Big Birch.
I don't mind Kemper. What school do you go to?
Birch Beer.
Without cheating. Anybody got the school?
I can't hear you. My mic's going off. Are you talking?
Enlighten us, Souriyo.
UNLV.
Oh, I did it wrong.
UNLV.
I keep putting the wrong thing. Those are keepers. Those are player pool. Clearly.
Here, we can delete the message.
Aminu, Frazier, and Ennis. Yeah, I'll do it over again. I think I can copy and paste it. Oh, all right, but let's see. We are on the last team, the best team of the bunch, Philadelphia 76ers. Soria, do you want to lead this out? And before we say this, I still think, before everything went down, I still thought they were going to come out of the East. And I still think they're going to come out of the East. I know we talked about this a while ago. They are just best on paper. Eventually, it's going to hit, and I think they're going to hit their stride and surprise a lot of people, especially the ones who are counting them out. I wouldn't be so sure about it.
I counted them out 6 months ago.
Okay, then we're on the opposite ends of the spectrum here.
I think there are
definitely
three
a betting dark horse,
and they're not one of them.
If you're going to bet on a team to win the championship right now,
that's probably the most. That's probably the better's bet is probably that. Like
you have the talent, you have the odds. You're gonna get your most bang for your buck on this.
That's true. I agree with that. But I also think that they're not one of the three teams that I think could come out.
Joel Embiid's gonna get buckets in the playoffs.
I don't like Joel Embiid. We'll keep him.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 9, 10, 11 players on this team be able to be kept. That's Tobias Harris, Al Horford, Joel Embiid, Josh Richardson, Ben Simmons, Mike Scott, Zaire Smith, Matisse Thybulle, Furkan Korkmaz, Shake Milton, Norvell Pell. That's a solid team. Just saying. So, do you want to start it off for us, Soria?
Yeah, sure. Let's keep stupid Joel Embiid. I just said I don't like Joel Embiid. Let's keep him.
It's a running theme in this. No, people don't like people, but
I just don't like Joel Embiid.
But they don't hate him enough to keep him or to get rid of him. Yeah, Embiid needs no introduction. Obviously, he's being kept. The only thing keeping him off being a top better than he is, he's already top 10, is being injured. He just needs to stay on the court, and that's pretty much it.
And there was a few, I don't think it was a nagging injury this year. It seemed like freak injuries. Yeah, so
I
think he got it.
At the beginning, it was the foot when he was healthy. Then it turned into a knee, and then there are a lot of different stuff. Shoulder. It's just always something different with him. But when he's on the court, he's a stud.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite players in the NBA. Joel Embiid is he's so entertaining. He is a dominant big man in the post, which we don't have anymore. And I think he broke his finger in a game and played through that game, and then was told that he had to miss 3 to 4 weeks, and then came back after 12 days. So I'm very impressed with Joel Embiid. Also, the All-Star game, right? They went to him late. They went to him late to get a bucket. So Joel Embiid, one of the best players in the NBA, in my opinion. I really love Joel.
Yeah, everything you said, you hit it. So we have Embiid as number 1.
The other stupid guy that I don't like.
We got as number 2.
So Ben Simmons.
Yeah, the other stupid guy I don't like.
You should start.
I hate his game. I think I hate his game so much.
That's all I can say.
What is it?
Learn how to shoot. Figure it out. You're a point guard. I don't understand why we have to celebrate the fact that he made a 3.
Hey, Jason Kidd couldn't shoot for a while.
Jason Kidd is 5th all time in 3-pointers.
Yeah, it took a while for him to get there.
Yeah, I don't know if Ben Simmons will ever get the 3-pointer, but the fact that he's as good as he is without the outside shot just shows how great he is.
Free throw's not that hard.
He's a stud. I think Soria's a little angry because he knows deep down when the Bucks get eliminated
by the Sixers. Are you joking?
It's gonna be a team from Philly.
There's no chance. Yeah, the Eagles.
Maybe. All right, I guess we have Embiid and Simmons as our first 2. No shock there. Number 3, I'm going to go with a guy who should have been at the All-Star in the All-Star whatever it's called festivities, and Matisse Thybulle. I don't know why he wasn't on the rookies or one of those two, the first 2-year teams. I'm losing my words here. I don't know why he was on there. He's easily the best rookie defender, and he's already a stud defender in the league.
Nobody watches the All-Star game to watch a rookie defender.
Yeah, but you vote on the All-Star and you pick your All-Star.
Yeah, the fans know I've never heard of this kid.
That's the sad thing, and that's what it is. He should have been on the team. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. This guy is going to be first and foremost, he's going to be a fantasy stud when he gets the minutes. It's guaranteed. He might even be a first-round pick at some point. If anybody who can get 2 steals and 2 blocks possibly, you can't really – just ask Jonathan Isaac. It's very hard to find. But in terms of actual talent, once this guy can hit threes, and he's a prototypical 3-and-D type of player. Once it comes more consistently, as that does happen when you're in the league for longer, he's going to be a name to watch. He's not going to put up any like all-star numbers in terms of scoring and whatnot, but he's a really good 2-way player. That's my Matisse Thybulle.
Tobias Harris. I assume he's on everyone's list. Oh, are you real?
I mean, he's making 35. We're talking about cash money.
Yeah, he's going to go first in the expansion draft.
35 million next year, 35, 36, 37, 39 in 4 years.
But what will they do with the money though?
I mean, in terms of, because I'm getting rid of someone else who's costing a ton of money.
I also am.
That's it. But that's a lot of money to pay for a guy who's
Tobias Harris is good.
But you don't pay almost 35 plus million for your third best player on your team. Who's a distant?
He's a third best player.
What's going to happen when
he's
you have to
20 game scorer? He's good.
I mean, yeah.
I
kind of like Josh Richardson a little bit more.
I have Josh Richardson on the list too.
No, I'm saying as
a player. Oh,
as a player, Tobias Harris is pretty good, but
I think Tobias Harris is a little bit better than
Andre Drummond making less money than Tobias Harris. I don't know.
But Andre Drummond sucks.
Yeah.
Andre Drummond's garbage. What is that?
So was Tobias Harris on your list, Santino?
Yeah, but he's number 8. He barely made it.
Oh,
you have to keep him. I mean, if you're talking about the whole Dennis Smith thing,
yeah. If they don't have Tobias Harris, they're not going to win shit. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
No, he's the only guy that can consistently hit a 3-point shot on the team besides Korkmaz. So you have to keep him. I'm just saying, I don't want to pay him.
Yeah. If they could have kept Jimmy Butler over Tobias Harris, they should have done that without a doubt. But now that they have Tobias Harris, you got to keep him.
Yeah, Butler wanted to be a big dog.
Yeah.
So we have 4: Embiid, Simmons, Thybulle, Tobias. Steve, who's number 5?
So we just talked about him, Josh Richardson. He's not making that much money. I think it's $10.5 million for the next 2 years, with maybe a team option or a player option for that third year. Let me see here.
Yep,
player option. Okay, so I mean, he's part of their core as well. He didn't have that great of a season, but he went from being a lead dog in Miami to being more of an ancillary piece in the starting lineup with the Sixers. So I would definitely keep
his game. Because I feel like his game is different now than it was when he was in Miami.
Yeah, that's because he's playing with. He doesn't have the ball in his hands enough.
I mean, I don't even mean
that they need.
I don't even mean that way, but I feel like he's not as disruptive as he used to be. Like on the defensive end, I feel like he's not as disruptive as he used to be.
Well, this is the number one. It is pretty much, when they're healthy, the best defense in the league.
Is that a joke? The Bucks are by far the best defense in the league.
Now, when they are all healthy, this is the best defense in the league.
Yeah, they're never healthy.
The Clippers.
No.
Clippers got the best defense
healthy
in the league.
Sixers team.
Analytically, the Bucks are by far the best defensive team in the league.
Yeah, that's because everybody's hurt. Watch when the playoffs come. Embiid's playing. Simmons is playing.
Giannis is the best defensive player in the league. Giannis is definitely the best defensive player in the league. That's not even a question.
I don't know.
I don't even think it's debatable.
It's a little debatable.
I would put Kawhi. Kawhi is the best defensive
You
player.
don't think Giannis is going to win defensive player of the year this year?
Probably will, because the team's better and he's averaging more rebounds and blocks. But I don't think overall he's a better defender than Kawhi or LeBron James.
Oh, come on.
LeBron James.
Well, when he tries.
Statistically, this
When
year,
he tries.
LeBron James is playing better defense than both of them. You could just say he's 36 and not at 36 years old. He's still the best player / defender / everything in this league.
I'm gonna do some,
he is the
next guy. I'm gonna do some looking.
He is the best player at like knowing when to take a play off. LeBron does that so well, and I don't even mean that as an insult. I mean that as a compliment because he's been playing in the league for so many years. I'm so impressed with his ability to know when to turn it on, when to turn it off. I could see LeBron being a great defender, but I would take Kawhi.
You mean Giannis with the number 1 defensive rating in the league?
I'll take LeBron. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks. Number 6. I like a few people on this team, but I'm just going to go with the $1 million man for the next 3 years, Shake Milton. He really came into he's been playing a lot. He always played a lot. He was one of the first guards off the bench on this team for the last 2 years or so, but he really stepped up in Simmons' absence in the last month or so before the season went off, and he showed that he gets buckets. He's more than a really good defender, which he's been. I'm at $1 million. You can't really argue with that. He's not hurting you any bit.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. He was on my list for sure too.
Oh, my turn?
Yeah, we got 2 spots left.
I have Zaire Smith on my list.
Me too. I almost said him. I didn't know if anyone else was going to say
No,
him.
I had both of those guys on the list.
I like that kid. He just doesn't have a spot on this team, unfortunately. I think he has a lot of talent, though, and I really want him to play somewhere.
By the way, I just want everyone to know that Giannis has .206 defensive win shares, first in the league by .26, and Kawhi is 22nd. LeBron is 6th with .163. I just want that to be clear.
LeBron's still better.
I just want that to be clear.
But the Bucks also had one of the best defenses in the league, like statistically, right?
Because of Giannis.
Well, okay.
Yeah, well, let's see what happens in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're gonna win.
So, what? One more player for this list?
Yeah, we're on the last player, and there is between Korkmaz, Horford, Pell, and Scott.
So is Norval Pelle available? Because I thought he was an RFA coming up.
Yeah, I thought
he has a standard $1.5 million contract next year.
Am I insane? What am I looking at?
on Basketball Reference, I don't have him as under contract for next year. But I wouldn't keep Norwood Powell anyways. So
he's not bad.
I don't know.
I didn't have him kept either.
I also wasn't going to keep Glenn Robinson, and I was not going to keep Mike Scott. You guys don't disagree on those?
I think Robinson's a free agent. I didn't have Scott on mine either.
So then it's between Korkmaz and
Horford. Yep.
And Horford.
Yeah, big decision.
I would go with Korkmaz.
I also would go with Korkmaz.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say Horford, and we were all going to boo you.
But. No, yeah, that's 3 for 3. I would go with Korkmaz.
Horford's the big guy that I would get rid of.
Yeah, the one thing about Horford is if it was only one more year, I would keep Horford because it goes until he's 37 years old.
Yeah.
So that's just a really long time to be paying a guy $30 million.
And I think Korkmaz is more important to them in terms of the ability to actually hit a shot.
Yeah. On talent, it's clearly
Horford
and he's going to be probably
together a impressive career and probably an underrated career. But I think with the fit of this team and the space that they need to create and the speed that they need to move at, I think that Korkmaz fits better.
Like Horford, that 5-6 years ago, he was a pretty decent power forward. He's a pick and pop guy. He can shoot from the free throw line, but they need more. This team
he can hit a free, but
this team needs more spacing.
They definitely need more.
They already have Embiid, Simmons. Josh Richardson is one of the streakiest players in the league.
Yep.
They need somebody that can consist in that four spot. They need someone who can consistently.
100% ends up on an expansion team.
Oh, he's probably. I know we said this a lot, first pick, but he's one of the first hand. He's
the
first pick of the draft. We said it a lot. But he actually. Yeah, we just don't know which one he's going to, but he's definitely picked. Clearly one of the first few picked. That's a big game changer right there.
Yeah.
I'm glad we were all in agreement. They had to get rid of one of them. I think it was pretty obvious that we were going to all say him because of all the spacing issues that they came up with this year. Pell and Horford. All right, so it looks we are all done with our 4 teams. The biggest players that are available to be picked are Al-Farouq Aminu, Al Horford.
That's pretty much it.
Bobby Portis,
Reggie Bullock,
and Taj Gibson. Don't forget old man Taj.
If anybody drafts Taj Gibson, we're done.
But yeah, we had some decent people. Aminu's going to get picked, I would assume. Al Horford's definitely going to get picked. Maybe some of these Knicks players. Bobby Portis should get picked. I think he's going to go on at least.
Bobby Portis should get picked. I agree with
that. Maybe Bullock, Wayne Ellington. I don't know, but we'll see how deep we have to go in these drafts. But at least 3 people are going to get picked, which is pretty solid. Maybe Terrence Ferguson. Who knows?
Yeah, he can run around and do nothing for an
he can waste time on the floor. But I think we did pretty good. We covered the Knicks.
How many players is it that we picked today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
We kept
10, 11
on every team.
10, 11, 12,
we
13. So we have 76 players now eligible for the player pool. 76.
I was like, the way that you were counting, we like, you don't got to count 8,
1, 2, 3, 8
to 32. Like that's
like 4 plus 5. Steve's 94 players.
And we're gonna draft is this 30 guys, right? 15? Oh, 15 plus 2, 17. Right? Am I crazy?
Yeah.
So 34
15.
taken.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think the player pool is very well, pretty stacked.
It's like the teams wouldn't be like. I don't think they'd be like the Bobcats year bad. Not even Bobcats bad.
There are some very good players out there, and we'll just see how that shakes out. Shake Milton's out. 3, 4, 5, 6.
That was so funny,
aren't they?
That was so hilarious.
I'm getting ready for them. But this is another good show. I'm glad that we had one. This is the first time we've done one of these with us 3 on it. I think we did pretty well. And then next week,
except for the debacle where we argued about who the best defensive player of the.
We had a few arguments that lasted a while, especially the best defensive player. We all had
politically honest.
And Dennis Smith. I'm still upset about Dennis Smith. I have to say.
I feel good. I feel good about saying what I said. I feel good about saying what I said.
I'm good with Dennis Smith. I was going to keep him.
I was trying to help the Knicks fans out,
No, they don't know what they should do.
Yeah,
they don't know.
They just know that they need to do something.
Well,
but
it's not keeping Dennis Smith.
They're gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Next, we have 2 more weeks of our player pool / expansion draft kind of thing before we get into the actual expansion draft, guys. Next week we have the Suns, the Blazers. Every time I say Blazers, I think of dodgeball. Blazer. But we have the Suns, Blazers, Kings, and Spurs next week. The week after that, we're finishing up with the Raptors, the Wizards, and the Jazz. And then we will be getting into talking about
You said them in a weird order. I was like, wait, did you forget the Wizards?
Oh, yeah, I went Wizards before the Jazz.
Yeah.
But then we'll be talking about how the expansion draft is going to work. Then we're actually going to hit the expansion draft. I think we're going to have either 4 to 6, I don't know, 3, maybe 2 people on each team or 3 people on each team.
Yeah, we got a war room. We got a war room.
We're going to have a war room out there. And we're gonna break down who we want on each team. I kind of want to go on the Sonics so I can grab everybody from Kentucky and make Doug mad, because Doug, all he talks about is who played in Kentucky. And if he was on this podcast,
I was going to say I want to be on the Sonics.
There are quite a few people that he would have put on the Kentucky roster. He said, "Hey, where did they play in college?" That we did tonight, especially on the Knicks, because That's all they know is, Kentucky. They were playing in Kentucky. Maybe they'll be good on our team. But yeah, we have 7 more teams to go, and then we'll break down this draft. And I think it's going to be a really fun one. And then I think that's going to last 2 weeks. And then right after that, guess what? The NBA is going to start back up. So this is going to be perfect timing, and I'm excited to see the rest of this through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Woo woo.
And as always, thank you guys for joining us. Everybody who tuned in, thank you, Souriyo, for joining. Thank you, Steve, coming out of the producers' circle to give us some great insight. And
Den would have worked there, by the way. I think that the producer's den would have been fine.
I went for it, and then I don't know why I changed it.
That was fine. That would have been fine.
I changed it. I was looking at Steve's picture, and I saw that thing that shouldn't be there, that stupid Warriors flag that's not part of the actual background, and it flustered me. But anyway, thank you guys for joining in. We'll catch you again next week at the same time next Wednesday.
Bye-bye.